If you're looking to learn some basic C++, you've come to the right spot. C++ is an object-oriented programming language, and learning C++ is a great way to learn some fundamental programming principles that you can easily transfer to other languages. In these projects that we'll look at, we're going to see lots of things including variables, expressions, conditionals, loops, functions, classes, data structures such as a vector, and we'll also have a look at some inheritance with virtual functions. You can look at the README if you need some extra link or help, but let's go ahead and dig into the code. So looking at the code, you can start out with a basic Hello World app. I would recommend following the W3 tutorial if you're new to C++ to get a hold of some of those basics. This is just to do some console alpha, but let's go ahead and take a look at our main program here, which is some console-based games. So we have a program that's going to allow us to choose between tic-tac-toe, hangman, or an exit if we want. And we are using classes here to instantiate class, tic-tac-toe class, hangman class, and then we'll call a play game method on each of those. This is where some inheritance comes into play quite nicely because we have created a game class. So we know all games should have some sort of play method on it. In this case, we called it play game. So each type of game, each derived version of a game that we're going to make is going to have that play game method, and we've marked as virtual so we can override it with whatever needs be for that specific game. And then some private functions that we'll need as well as something to display game board. Some sort of method to take a turn and some sort of method to check if the game is over or not. And so we'll see all these virtual functions be overridden in our implementations of tic-tac-toe and hangman. Let's go ahead and take a look through the code at these functions, and then we'll run it and see how it goes. So in our tic-tac-toe game, obviously, like we said, we have the play method, but let's take a look at some of the private ones first. Display the game board. We're just doing some nice console output. We have this game board variable that has this collection of values. So we start out with 1 through 9, and then we'll replace those with the player's X's and O's as the game goes on. So we'll just print that out to display the game board with those associated values. When they take a turn, we're going to try and get some sort of digit as an input so that we can replace whatever digit 1 through 9 in that nice little grid. We'll replace it with their token. We are asking them for an integer, so if it's not an integer, we'll catch it there and request it again. Once it is a digit, we'll figure out what row and column in that space to update that was shown up here. And then we'll go ahead. If it's not valid, we'll ask again. But if it is valid, we'll try and update that with either the X, and then we'll switch it to the next player's turn. If there's not an empty slot here, we will ask them to take their turn again. As far as checking for a game over, we're just checking, as you know, in tic-tac-toe, if those various combinations to see if someone has won the game. If no one's won at that point, we'll make sure, we'll see if there's any empty spots they could still play in. And then if the game is tied, we can also check at that point. To play the game, it's a pretty simple loop. We'll just check if the game's over after we get the initial input. If it's not over, then we'll show the game board and let someone take a turn. We'll keep looping until the game has ended. Once the game has ended, we'll display an end of game message. Hangman is going to work pretty much the same way. We have some nice little hangman art, and that's going to be the basis of our console display here, is this little hangman kind of animation type thing. And that is the list here. And we'll also see a vector of strings that can be our list of words for people to guess. You can see we just have a few here to choose from. But when we display the game board, we'll just display one of those hangman art items depending on how many times the player has missed. And then we'll display the word to guess, which is going to be a series of dashes to begin with until they start guessing. For that take turn method, we'll just ask, as you would expect, for them to guess a letter. If that letter's in the word, then we'll update the guess word to show the letter that they've guessed, but nothing else. The rest would be dashes. If their guess letter is not in the word, we'll increment their number of misses, and then the next time we'll show the next stage in the Hangman animation type thing. Checking if game is over is a lot simpler for this. We're just seeing if the secret word that we've generated is the same as the word that they've guessed, or if they've missed too many times. Playing the game, this looks very similar to our tic-tac-toe, where we are just checking if the game is over. If it's not over, we'll show the game board and let them take a turn. Um, if it is over, then if it's over due to them missing too many times, we'll tell them that they lost. Else we'll assume that they've won and show the winning message. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this code looks as it runs, and then we'll wrap up the video. Oh, looks like it didn't finish running, so let me rerun that. Oh, I need to run from the main program, so we can have our menu option. And as you can see, those two game classes, they did inherit the base game class and they did override. So let's go ahead and choose tic-tac-toe for our player names, and then we can make a series of moves and it will fill in the letters for us, or the slots, I mean. And then we'll let Echo go ahead and win. Then you can choose another game. For Hangman, you can see we have a 5-letter word, so we can do some guesses. If we miss, we'll get some those little animations going. But we'll go ahead and end it there. Once we've won, it says that we've won, and then you can exit. You could play again if you wanted to, but that should end the program. There you go, some simple console game apps that you can build in C++ just to get your feet wet and learn some of those basics.